Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Going on?
Hello, Darren.
Hey, Shoshana and Coby. Thank you guys so much for plugging in today. And I see we've got some team members popping on. It's so good to see you guys. I am so stoked that I get both of you, like two legends in one. I feel like this is going to be an incredible call. I feel so lucky that we get to have you and we get to take a minute to really dive into what makes you guys so awesome. You've been in our world for a long time, Coby and Shoshana, and I feel like your business has really grown incredibly over the last couple of years. And the most exciting part is you've got even bigger goals ahead. Like you are headed, you're on a rocket ship to the moon is what I feel like. And that's what I really want to talk about today. But before we get started, I want to, we have a couple housekeeping items. I'm going to just share my screen really quickly. We're just going to run through a couple of things. So for those of you just joining us, my name is Darren Bueslick. I am the Director of Growth at the Be Wealthy Network. I have the privilege of working with our partners on the retail space and growing their residential retail sales teams. And I've gotten to know both Coby and Shoshana over the last couple of months, and you guys are in for a treat. They're just phenomenal. So we are going to make sure that we get through all of our questions today so we can learn as much as we can from the two of them. And then we're going to take our questions at the end. So if you have questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat, leave a comment. We will get to your questions at the end. So please feel free to share those. And then if you guys want to book a call, you want to get on our calendar, learn a little bit more, scan this code or go to scale2wealth.youcanbookme. Okay. And we'll meet you there. So with that said, without further ado, let's jump into it. Coby, I want to hear your, I was going to say 3 minutes, but we'll give you 30 seconds because I know you talk fast. So in 30 seconds, tell us your background, the business you and Shoshana are in, and how long you guys have been doing this.
Yeah, so been in the business since 2011. Started our investment side of the business in 2019, early 2020. Right in the height of the pandemic, great time to start a business, right? And essentially, we've been able to use the synergy of a realtor team, so the retail team, which is like how I like to call it, and then an investment team, an acquisitions team, or a cash offer, really to propel the synergy of both businesses to create options for sellers and go create a lot of really cool opportunity for our team and team members. And it kind of reminds me of, what's on your shirt right now, which says get free. And I think a lot of why we've grown the way we've grown and we've done what we've done is to go get free, right? It's like the freedom to do all the things the way we want to do them and help people in our world get there as well.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. You have a clear vision of freedom and you guys you're achieving it. You're on that path every day. You have a clear plan and a goal to get there. And I love that you have those two businesses that kind of feed each other, right? So Shoshana, what was your team production last year? So everyone can have a reference point. And then tell us what your teams, and when I say team, I mean each business, production last year, and then the goal for this year.
So we sold right around $45 million in real estate with 150 deals in 2023 on the retail team. Now, interestingly, a lot of us know in business that the unit count really drives our business forward. And our unit count probably will be somewhere between 150, 200 deals this year. We just hit our 100th deal this week. So I'm excited about that. If we're doing 100 deals and it's 200 days, I can work, we have another couple hundred, left, whatever. I can kind of see that where we're headed. We start to be super predictive at this point in the year. That having been said, we work very, very heavily with investors in our retail business as well. And therefore, even though we needed 200 units this year, our volume total probably won't be that different. It may be a little different. It will be north of what we did last year, but it may not be exponentially north.
Right. And then on the acquisition side, and I know you have two brands here. We've got the Socher team as the real estate team, and then the Speedy Offer side. Coby, what was your production last year and your goal for this year?
Yeah, so last year, we ended the year with about 45 deals. We, via flipping, wholesaling, quick flipping, and buying rentals and different things like that. This year, we're going to be over 100 deals total. Our goal this year is to net $3.3 million on the profit side for Speedy Offers.
It's phenomenal. And just to tie this back, this was the business that you launched in the pandemic.
Yeah. So originally, I was flipping homes, right? And I started flipping houses, having a ton of success and just kind of doing that on the side. Like I called it like my wife and I had this like try income, right? Of like my wife had an income, I had an income. Let's go flip a couple houses here and there and create a try income. And then over time, we just realized like this could really become a business. And that's what got me linked up with Brett, Be Wealthy, Scale to Wealth. And the coolest part about it is, we're on Scale to Wealth right now, Thursday's calls. If somebody were to ask me, what's the number one thing that got our business to having, 8 acquisition agents, me having an executive assistant in this business, having a full-time dispositions manager, a recruiter, a VA, and spending, over 100K this year on leads, right? I would tell you it's go watch Joe's Wednesday Scale to Wealth call, start from day one, follow steps every single week, make improvements and create action items towards it and bug the hell out of them. And next thing you know, in a year from now, you're going to have exactly what we have here because that's how we built it, is off of Scale to Wealth.
You followed the system and the model to a T.
To a T. I mean, really to a T.
Yeah. That's awesome. That was going to be my next question, is the one thing that I was going to say 3, but you dialed it down to 1 that has most contributed to your success in your business. So Shoshana, I'll ask you that question. What are 1 or 2 things that you think have contributed most to your success?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think that being super scrappy at the beginning was really, really crucial because I see a lot of agents that want to spend a lot of money on a lot of different stuff. And we're being pitched every single day. I'm sure every single person on this call gets a lot of pitches for lead sources, for medical insurance, I don't know, this, that, the other thing, you just name it. And by being super scrappy and just doing the work, that really propelled the retail team to the success that it's in today. Then I will also say that I was on Andrew's call on Friday, and as a 12-week cycle, I believe I'm probably listened at least 3 times through and revisited some of them in the middle of the week to know how to shape our team that it is today.
Yeah. And okay, so 2 reference points there. Number 1, I love that you said you're doing the thing. That's something we say around here at Be Wealthy all the time. Someone has to do the thing. It seems like a lot of people are like, well, if I can outsource the lead generation, and if someone else goes on the appointment or sets the appointment, someone else goes on the appointment, someone else does transaction coordination, like at some point we have to do the thing, right? And the call that you're referencing, that's Andrew McCarger. That's our calls for the Be Wealthy network that I love that you guys are plugged into those. So 2 awesome groups of calls. Clearly everyone listening to this is plugged into our calls, but check out Andrew's and check out Joe's as well. So next question, Coby, I know that you believe in failing forward. I know that you are, you take that mindset from Brett, right? You share that mindset with Brett. So do you have a favorite failure of yours that has propelled you to success?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite failure. I think more of it's just a mindset of growth and moving forward, right? And so, I run at things with urgency. That was the first lesson I learned from my mom when I was 18 years old, was we do things urgently, right? If you're servicing somebody and you do something fast, that's really important, right? And now on the investment company side, like we need to run at things. So, I would say, in terms of failing forward, the biggest thing is speed to lead, right? And speed to lead, somebody brought up my team something incredible, which I really believe in. Speed to lead could be speed to leadership, right? And so a situation comes on, and I've had, so in the past, couple months, I've had some opportunities and frustrations within my team where I have not taken my speed to leadership the way that was needed, and it allowed our team to really get held back in a lot of ways. And then taking a realization of that, and then realizing when you need to jump, and the jump could be into speed to lead with a physical lead coming in, a seller wanting to sell their home, or that could be when a team member is in dire need of something, or when the whole team is in a huge dysfunction, but you're ignoring it. And so speed to leadership has been, like, for me, a mindset that I've, want to take on to really propel forward, because it's a tough thing to do.
That is, I've never heard it phrased that way. I love that, speed to lead and speed to leadership. That is so cool. Shoshana, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Do you have a favorite success, or how has failure propelled you to success? A favorite failure that's moved you forward?
It's interesting. The last job I held was when I was 19. So it's, really, maybe it was 20, long time ago since I've actually held a regular job. And, to that end, it's kind of all failure and all success. And so one component I always also urge people, though, is to really pay attention to the brokerage you're in. I don't exactly consider it a failure, but I consider that we were in a brokerage that didn't understand about systems, didn't understand about models, didn't understand about business growth. Sure, you could sell some homes, and there were a few successful agents, including us, in the brokerage, but we weren't in an environment that like grew us or grew our business in any way, and that allowing yourself to hang around in anything like that is it's really almost a self-esteem issue. And you have to acknowledge and look at and see if you're in a situation that's potentially holding you back, because you got to just cut ties and just move on and get forward there.
I'll tag into that, which is that I agree with her. We were in some toxic brokerage situations early on in our career, which we didn't realize were holding us back. Yet sometimes it could also be about getting in the right room, right? So is it a brokerage? Is it a room? Is it a coach? What is it that you need to go get yourself forward? But if you're in a place where there's toxicity going on, I think what my mom's saying more than anything, and I would agree with, is that you need to run from toxicity and run towards abundance and the people that are going to cheer you on and want to help you propel forward, because that's where things get really fun.
Yeah. There's a follow-up question here. When you are you're running away from the toxicity or away from the limited mindset environment, how do you know what room you want to be in and what environment you want to be in for you two? Like, what is the measure of, yes, this is a relationship I want to pursue. This is a coach that I want to work with. This is a program that I want to be involved in. How do you gauge it? How do you measure?
I'll go first, which is to say that I think we're so blessed these days with social media, because we can see a lot about somebody and check them out pretty easily. Like, think about my parents, right? Like, if they were like, oh, that seems like an interesting whatever, how would they have done the research? I don't really know. But one thing is that we're able to see what a whole person looks like. Are they mean to their employees? Are they a good spouse? Are they nice parents? Are they education based? Whatever, there's a million different categories. And we're able to sort of model ourselves knowing that we want to be around those kind of people.
Yeah. My answer to that would be my answer to almost everything in the past 4 or 5 years of my life, which is you got to create calculators for yourself, right? And that way you can make really easy decisions. So what is the calculation that gets you to an end answer, right? So if I'm looking at a house and I'm going, is this a good investment? I stick it in my spreadsheet and I go, okay, what's the, purchase price? What's the, market price? What would I be able to purchase this for? How much are renovations going to be? How much would an end buyer pay for it? And I go down, then I look at like, what do I net at the end of the day? And then I can make a decision, yes or no, right? Does this make sense as a rental? Does it make sense as a flip? How do I play with this? And then there's a yes and no answer, right? Same thing to this. Like, I think it's creating your calculator. So for me, I would tell you that I think that's why I started, you talk the get free on the front of your shirt, right? I know Be Wealthy's mission to a T, right? And now I align with that really well. It's something that I really believe in, right? That being said, if I didn't believe in that mission and I didn't align with the values of the Be Wealthy company, that I wouldn't be part of it. So creating that calculator of, if you're going to do something you're going to be really deeply involved, do you align with their mission, vision, and values? If yes, cool, move forward and see how you like it. If no, cut it off, don't even look at it. And so I think it's kind of creating that like calculator for your brain that you don't even have to think about a decision. It's here's how I get to it.
Yep. Automating decisions based on value alignment. I love that. Okay. So this leads me to my next question. And I know each of you do this because you want to be thoughtful about your time. You analyze the relationships you're in, the organizations that you're part of. You consider your time an investment. So it doesn't have to be time specific, but Coby, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made? And that can be money, time, energy. What's one of the best investments you've ever made?
Well, I'll start with this. My first Mercedes at 20 years old was not it.
Easy. Got it. Clear.
No one told me that it was going to cost me like $1,500 for an oil change and a new tire was $2,000. And you know, that when you dent people, that they see you have a Mercedes and take you for a ride. That was the worst, one of the worst ones. But I did feel cool for about a day until I crashed it. In terms of the best investments I've ever made in our company, and for myself, is mostly around health. So I take my health really, really seriously. Starts with like the food you're eating. I'm deeply into ice bathing right now, cold plunging, whatever you want to call it. And I have been for a little while. My Remarkable, which is my notebook, I am in love with this thing. So that'd be a great investment. And then I would say, but more than anything, here's what I would really tell you. I would say the leads that I buy and how I measure them. So the best investment we've made is our lead source, which is mostly mailer, for the investment side of the business. And the returns have been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. And that's, again, following the steps in Joe's Scale to Wealth videos.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not something that I created.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Shoshana, did you
best investment?
What?
Best investment, best family investment ever, have been some family vacations, including a post-pandemic trip on the beach to see my mom in San Diego. So your mom may be on one coast, my mom's on another. And that
I get the mom in Ohio.
Sorry. That's really special. As far as business goes, I cannot express enough about being with the right coach and paying a lot of money, not just for the thing, but for the not for the sessions just, but for the travel, the lodging, and being away from your business, food, whatever, to go to quarterly masterminds out of town. Dipping out of town has been a very interesting experience for me. And the first time that I did that, the person who was leading the session said, you know, you're going to be in a world where you have to travel to see your friends. And I was like, well, that's crazy. Like, what does that even mean? And then you realize, like, the people that you want to surround yourself with, the levels of success, you will pay to get to go to the places to see those people. And I think that investment has made a huge difference in where we sit today.
I love that. Yeah. And there is some truth to that, right? As you become a bigger fish, you have to seek out the bigger pond, right? And those ponds might be elsewhere. Yeah. And there might not be.
I'll throw in there also, just like, this is, you know, you're kind of going back and forth, Shoshana, Coby. And if I think of us as a unit, right? So my mom and I, since I was 18 years old, have really played the unit game, right? We've been a team. And we were a team, the two of us, before we grew the team, right? You see my wife is on the call right now. I see Alex is on the call. Other team members of ours are on the call, which, you know, grow our team and create our team today. But, you know, we had to first believe in ourselves and invest in ourselves. And then we went and invested in people. And the people in our world, you know, have propelled us to where we're going, right? To how we're doing it, right? If you look in the back of Sharon's screen, you'll see a speedy offer sign and a cool LED light, right? You look in the back of Alex's office and he's got like really cool brick. I've got, you know, this shirt on. I didn't make any of this stuff, right? It was the people who got us and took us, like, here's where we are, here's our vision. Now you got to go hire the right people. And it costs a lot of money to do it, right? It's not just the salary, it's the payroll, it's the expenses, it's the emotional side, it's all the pieces, it's the coaching, training, whatever it is, to get that person to the next level. But you do that and people can grow and take your business to a place that you wouldn't even believe could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys are such a testament to that, to investing in your people and your team, because we see the way you care about them, the way they show up and are excited to be part of it. So this actually leads me to a question. The two of you have worked together for quite some time and in different capacities. And I know that your roles have changed as Coby has launched, you know, Speedy Offers, and that's grown. What would each of you say? And well, Coby, we'll start with you. What is the secret to your working relationship? Because we have a lot of people in the real estate space. I always found this unique to real estate. It's an industry where families do work together, right?
Yeah.
Spouse teams, parent-child teams, best friend teams, but there are a lot of close relationships. So what would you say is the key to success in your working relationships?
So I'll tell you this. I mean, any business at its core is a family. Johnson & Johnson, a family company, right?
Yeah.
You look at any, I don't know why that one just came to my mind, but you look at any
tagline that yeah, everybody knows it.
You look at every company and typically it's a family behind it, right? JP Morgan, like the Chase family, like there's the Rockefeller, like
Rockefellers, yeah.
Family, right? Like the Vanderbilt, like these huge families go and create things. So it's a family affair essentially, right? And yet, if you read what broke up the families, so you got to go look at what happens, what are the dysfunctions. So the Vanderbilt family, if you read a book called What Would the Rockefellers Do? They talk a lot about the Vanderbilt family. The Rockefellers learned from the Vanderbilts. The Vanderbilts didn't have a clean, organized way of how to deal with money. Okay. I'm getting to your answer. Give me a second. Yep. So Vanderbilts didn't have a way to organize and keep their money straight. So when somebody went and built a house, somebody else was pissed off. When somebody went and bought a car, somebody else felt like they were screwed. When somebody else invested in something, somebody else wasn't part of it. The Rockefellers kept their money together. They also, when they took out money, everybody equally took out money. They had clear expectations up front of exactly what happened to every single dollar. What keeps my mom and I together, and I don't even know if she needs to answer this question because I know she's going to say the same thing, but I'll let her if she would like to. But what I believe, what keeps our family together, keeps zero dysfunction in the room, creates no issues, is every single dollar is accounted for. If my mom removes 86 cents from the account, it will be documented. Now, she doesn't have to ask for my permission to move even $86,000, but 86 cents gets documented, and vice versa. We have kept the money clean since day one. Since 2011, when I came into the business, our money has been open books, clean, documented, right? Which has created zero dysfunctions. Goes back to the calculation. What's your rule around money? We created rules. We created a system. We document it. There's never this thing of like, man, I really want to go build a pool, right? But like, I don't know, I can't ask my mom for the money. There's also never this thing where it's like, hey, why did you take this $3,300 right here? And why is your car being paid for this? But there's none of that. And so because of that, we've just been able to grow our business as a business versus it being like this tenuous family money situation. When you think about so people go, how's it working with your mom? And I'm like, well, A, my mom's a badass. And B, it's great. Why is it great? Because they go, well, I can never work with my parents. Well, then you have a trust issue. When you say trust, my guess is you have a money issue. You have a dysfunction around money. We are clean with the money, which makes us clean with our relationship.
And let's take that from money to one other component. Back in the day when Coby was, I'm going to say 21 or 2 or something like that. And we had an abusive client, and that client, he came over to do something with a little sibling, hang out, play, whatever. And then I said, oh, can we talk about this client? He was like, no.
Emotionally abusive, by the way. Not.
Okay. I mean, yeah. He didn't hit us. But he was really an abusive individual. Disclaimer, right? And he goes, and I said, oh, can we talk about this? And he was like, no. It's like 5:30. I want to play. I want to hang out. I want to do stuff. And I kept talking about it. And he was literally pretty irritated and annoyed with me. And then later he came back and was like, Mom, like, we can't always talk about business. You have to be my mom and I have to be your son. And sometimes we just have to be a family. So we have actually really pretty strict, we're Sabbath observant. We don't work on Saturdays, Friday nights or Saturdays. And we're pretty good about not discussing business, period, which also allows the other sides of your relationship to flourish, which I think is the other half of the money piece.
Darren, what you're hearing is us telling you the answer to your failures. So we fail, but then we have a clear expectation conversation around it. What's a dysfunctional relationship? A dysfunctional relationship is Darren and I fight, right? You and I have an argument, right? We both go, screw you, and go our own ways. Later on, we're like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? We never address the dysfunction. My mom and I address the elephant in the room. We sit in a room once a week. We have an owners meeting and we discuss all the elephants in the room. It can be personal. It can be family. It can be business. It can be money. All the elephants in the room. Then you walk away with what? With no drama.
Yeah. Complete clarity.
Exactly. And so it's just creating all these things. So you go fail as fast as you can, like you talked about before. Now, as you fail, go build a system around it, right? Go do all these things. I'm looking at Alex's faces on my screen. Alex Ribb is our director of operations for the Socher team, right? I mean, Alex says the last 5-6 years, legitimately, all he has focused on is taking all the issues that come up in the business and go create a system and a process around it so that it doesn't happen again.
So I love that you already broke it down for us, Coby, but you guys have clear expectations from the beginning. If one of those expectations is not met, you have a clearly set time and place and format to have that conversation about it, solve it, and then you're going to change what you need to change and move forward with a new, better process.
Yeah, we use a level 10 meeting format from Rocket Fuel. If you're if anybody's looking for format of how to run your owner's meeting, we use the level 10 meeting from Rocket Fuel. We've over the years changed it and tweaked it so that it worked for us.
So a couple books are
here. Yeah, no, I was going to say, and as part of that, we also keep it as our a parking lot for just during the week. We just have a running agenda. You don't really create a new one every week. You just, and so that, like, there's plenty of millions of things. I would love just to pick up the phone every second, but Coby's running his business. I'm running my business. We're running our businesses together, but there's stuff that then we can wait till Tuesdays at 1 p.m., which is when we meet.
Yeah.
Do it then.
So I love this level 10 meeting agenda. That's from Rocket Fuel, which is a book that's paired with Traction, which is another
right.
And then I love Shoshana held up the copy of Fierce Conversations. If you guys haven't read that book, Cinderella put the link in the chat. It's a great tool about how to have those conversations with people that you love and care about. So, okay. I know that you guys are focused on, I love that you're clear on values, you're clear on your core, where you're working towards. That said, I know that you're also very change oriented. You are willing to change when you need to, and when you know it's going to improve your life. So here's a question, a little bit reflective. In the past 5 years, Shoshana, what is a new belief, behavior, habit that has improved your life?
That's a really good one. I would say in the last 5 years, so I was using a gratitude journal, which I liked, and it was fine. And, 3 little bullet points to give you something you're thankful for every day. Literally, it could just be waking up. But somebody said to me, are you writing the phrase, I'm thankful for first? I am thankful for first. I was like, no. He said, try that. It's going to change how your journaling goes. And it is really amazing. So now, what I'm thankful for, I'm grateful for. And when you say it out loud like that, literally that becomes a part of your affirmations during the day, that you're thankful for something, not just a little kind of short bulleted list. That was super helpful. And really just really neat. The other thing that's that I've been really into in the last 5 years, I don't know if Coby even knows, it's funny. I'm an early riser. I like the early morning. I really love to go outside and look at the stars in the early morning. And it's so cool. I don't know anything about them. I don't know which one is which. I don't know, which is Venus and Mars and whatever. I just think that the stars and the silence are super, super powerful and really beautiful. And it's just something I really take joy in. And it propels my day.
I love that. And I love it that you're getting your morning started with some peace and some thinking time and reflection. That is, miracle morning, right? There's some great.
Sure.
I love that. Coby, I'm going to ask you the question a little bit differently because you're our forward thinker here. This might be a challenging question, but I'm going to ask you what new belief, behavior, or habit do you think you need to implement next to become the person that you're on the path to becoming?
Great question. When I look at where I am today and I look at what are the things that I want, some of them are personal, some are mental, some are physical, right? The actual physical things, though, typically you have to change your, when I say physical, I'm not talking about my body. I'm talking about, like, let's say you want to go, you want a certain net worth, right? And so a lot of my stuff revolves around my net worth. So I have a 30-year net worth goal of being worth $350 million. I go take that net worth goal and I got to go figure out how to implement. So who do I need to become in order to implement that? So I'm continuously adding the things right? In order to become that, right? One of the things that I added was, cold plunging. Why? Why did I start cold plunging? Yes, I like the body benefits. I feel great, all these things. Really? It's because I needed something that first thing in the morning was extremely hard, because my days are really tough. You go run a large business in a large organization with a lot of deals, right? We have, 24, 25 deals under contract currently on the investment side of the business, right? Along with 8 flips going on, 4 rentals being blown up, all these weird things happening, right? And your day, you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to war. The cold plunge is something you don't want to go do. So I had to make myself and force myself every single day to go get in there because it's hard, right? So now what's the next hard thing? So I think when I'm looking at it, I would look at it like that. What are the things that I need to do that are really hard for me? Social media was really hard for me. I know that to go where I want to go over the next 10 years, social media is going to play a huge impact, which is why if you ask me, I tell you I'm an influencer, right? Sharon, my wife, will be like, wow, that's how you posted on social media. I'm like, yeah, babe, I'm an influencer. Like my brain, like, of course, like I'm an influencer. What are you talking about? Like, no big deal, right? I got this. And so coming up with my plan around social media, when if you look, like the last thing is like a post that like, Sharon and I were at a beach in Florida in 2017. And now you go look and there's, 85 posts in the last 45 days, you'll see it continuing to grow and emulate and all these things. I knew that I had to get really public, which is hard for me because I'm, believe it or not, a secret introvert, right? It's not my personality style to just, I wanted to hide from all that, right? I didn't want that. I didn't want to gloat on social media. So I didn't want it to feel like that. But what I realized is to go, if I wanted on the flip side to have the net worth goal and the life and the freedom and the ability to do what I wanted to do, I had to make it public. And I had to not hide from myself or from others, which is why I've had to jump onto that platform and now moving forward and really heavily growing that.
I love that you said that, a secret introvert. I think there are a lot of great business owners who are secret introverts, some of them hiding it better than others. And, being out there in the world as we know we have to. Another thing that kind of brings to my mind, I know, Coby, I hope I can kind of share this. I think that you, like me, are, I'm like, oh, I'm ADHD. I'm ADD, right? Like I struggle to focus, like, and this makes me think of the introvert extrovert thing. Oh, I'm not a focuser. Like, it's not who I am. I have a million thoughts going at all times. The reality is that to run a really successful business requires intense focus. So, and we all have times in our lives where we may feel overwhelmed or unfocused, or we temporarily lose focus and have to get back on track. So my question for you is, what tools or strategies are you using to get focused and stay focused?
Yeah, I mean, I heavily believe in drugs. No, I'm just kidding.
Legal,
no,
right?
No, I'll tell you this, which is, this is pretty public in a private way, but I spoke in the mastermind about this, which is, I was coaching with Brett Tanner, my business coach, who I've coached with since 2019, and I used the excuse that I have a hard time focusing, and he's like, "Is that your truth or is that the truth?" He's like, that sounds like it's your truth. He's like, that's what you're telling yourself to get yourself out of situations. Stop telling yourself that. That's just not true. Like, you need to grow up if you want to do the things you're going to want to do. And so part of it is that it's a mindset around it. And then part of it is setting yourself up for success, right? So if you know that you have a hard time focusing, then you need to sweat first thing in the morning. You need to work out first thing in the morning, right? You need to make sure you're eating correctly. You need to make sure you have enough water in your body, right? One of the things that I do, which is, I don't know if I've ever told anybody this before, but I have like an exercise that I do to focus, that I do in a chair typically, where I start at my feet and I like tense my toes and then my feet, and then I tense my like ankles, and then I squeeze my, like the muscles, right? I squeeze the muscles going all the way up my leg, right? Then I go into my abs and my torso, my chest, my arms, my hands. I literally will like tense up my neck, my face muscles, like I'll clench my ears, my eyebrows, my nose, everything. And then I release it. And when I do that, it relaxes my entire body. And I can typically get about 45 minutes to an hour of focus just based off that.
That's awesome. Never heard before. Inside secret of focus right there. Like that's, yeah, record this, take notes, guys. No, that's super helpful. And that's a real, I mean, tactical thing, because again, there are strategic ways. And I love that you mentioned like the way that we move our bodies, the way that we fuel our bodies, they affect our mental focus, and you can control those things.
Yeah. You load up on sugar. Don't be surprised when you're super emotional.
Yeah. Yeah. Shoshana, how about you? When you're feeling unfocused or maybe overwhelmed, what brings you back to a place of focus?
I would say that I tend to run at life's treadmill at a level 10. I'm just, I got the thing cranked up. So I'm running and I'm running hard. Just also the built-in operating system, not that I never lose focus, because like everybody I do. And I think that focus can also be sometimes a symptom of, it can almost be like an emotional symptom. Like if you're feeling overwhelmed or you're just, whatever, something like that, all of a sudden that's when you're losing focus and you're scrolling on social media and you're just like, oh my God. And I'm kind of running to the fridge for a snack, and you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I love a good guided meditation using, any of the number of apps that are out there, even literally 1 minute, a 1 minute breathing thing, like, 1 minute breathing meditation will bring you right back to focus on what you need to focus. And because it is physical, I don't know if you know the rubbing your ears trick.
Oh,
but yeah, it's not a joke. Reach up and pull your ears. Don't hurt yourself. Pull your ears in and that is actually a focus trick that they use for children. And guess what? We're all just big children. So
right.
pull your ears, take a deep breath and get in there and actually do the work.
I am ready to show up for the Socher team wellness retreat. Whenever you guys are ready to host, I will be there. I will buy the ticket.
I have one other thing to say about focus, which I think is just an observation, which is, have you ever noticed when you've got the list, you've got the big bad list of what you've got to accomplish, that the thing that you actually have to accomplish is like this big, and somehow it stays to the end of the day. And I'll use the example of a standard listing appointment. You have a listing appointment at 4 p.m. and you've had a great day, and it's 3:30 and you're getting ready for the listing appointment, and you're getting ready to run out the door, and the printer won't print and you can't find the pens, and where's the folders, and I can't even remember what we're supposed to take. Well, explain why the focus didn't happen at 9 a.m. or 10 p.m. at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. or whatever, so that you could just get the little piece of work that you actually had to focus on done. And if the little piece of work is done, the rest of it,
it's all easy. It speaks back to Coby. Why does Coby jump in a freezing cold tub of water every morning? Right. That's one of my favorite books, Eat That Frog. Have you guys heard of that one or read it? Right. It's the same concept. We do the hardest thing first, then the other hard stuff pretty much falls like dominoes.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. So, okay. You guys have clearly been in the game for a long time because you have these great tools and these tips and these tricks. If you were starting today, you were a brand new baby agent or a brand new baby investor. Some of them are on the call, some of them are seasoned, but I like to think that we can give advice that's fundamental right at the beginning that actually applies to everyone. But I'll phrase the question this way. If you were going to give a smart, driven, brand new agent or investor advice, a piece of advice about entering the real world, what one piece of advice would that be? Coby, tell us for an investor, and then we'll ask Shoshana for an agent.
Perfect.
What's one thing you would tell them?
You want me to go first?
I think of this this poster I used to have in my office, and it said motion, and in front of motion it had the E, right? And the E had a big X on it, like crossed out.
Yeah.
It was take out the emotion and just motion. So go do the thing, right?
Okay.
Talk about doing the thing. Go do it. Like go make it happen. I always was like, well, I can't be a flipper, or I can't buy rentals, or I can't hold notes, or I can't do quick flips, or I can't buy this property or control the property because I don't have the cash, right? And that wasn't true. If you have the right deal, the money will come, right? I could show you 50 different ways to go get the money for the right deal. If you have the right deal, it is the easiest thing in the world to get the money for it. Now, that was my truth. Going back to is it your truth or is it my truth? If you have the right deal, do you want to go make 2.5% as a realtor on it, or which let's say it's 150 or let's call it a $200,000 deal. You want to make 6% before it hits the brokerage and your taxes and all these other things. So where, really instead of $6,000, you're making 3.5, or is there an $80,000 opportunity there? Right. My most recent deal that I just did, I bought a house for 180, closing on a Monday. By Friday, it was on the market again. I didn't do anything to it, for 250, and it sold at 275 before, Friday at 5 p.m. Right. And, cash offer, no inspections, quick closing, simple deal. Now, I could have easily put that home on the market. Now, the seller didn't want the home to go on the market. So it's not like I took them away from that. They didn't want that. My point being, though, is like, I could have gone and made 2.5% on 180 grand. Instead, the opportunity is what most people make in a year. And so are you stepping over the pennies, quarters, and dimes to get to the $10 bills? Or are you picking up the quarters and dimes and pennies going like, wow, I'm doing so great. Like, this is so awesome, right? But like, you're missing the big picture of what the opportunity could be if you had the right deal in your hand, of what it could propel your business to. So that would be like, to me, I would say like, go do it, go find the deal, go do it, go make it happen. On the real estate side, I'll just say first, which is, just to be really clear, the way that we were able to grow Speedy Offers and our investment business the way it is our retail business funded it, right? The holding company for Speedy Offers is TST Ventures, the Socher Team Ventures, meaning we funneled money, profit legally from the Socher team, the retail business, because there was extra money because we were doing so well and making so much in commission. There was extra money there. And we go, how do we go take this money and turn it into more money? And now the money from the retail business, which my mom Shoshana is the CEO of, right, funded a company that is on track to make $3 million in profit this year, right? And so don't give up on the things that you think could really happen by not taking the motion, not taking the action. Take your emotion out of it and put motion into it.
I love that. Go from emotion to motion. I love that. Shoshana, how about you? One piece.
Okay. Retail agent, the easiest thing to do, that is both and a hard thing to do, is to be the boy or girl that people want to do business with. Just to be the person. And to be the person means a number of different things. It doesn't mean you have to dress fancy, because we've all met the agent at the beach that goes around in flip-flops and dolphin shorts. It doesn't mean that you have to drive a great car, because Coby will tell you that I started out totally broke in a hand-me-down minivan. It works, but you have to still internally be the person that other people want to do business with. And then, instead of being a secret agent, you got to be really out there, because a lot of our job is jumping up and down in front of people and going like this. And so, if back to that self-esteem thing, if you're having a self-esteem issue where you can't look somebody in the eye and go, I sell real estate and I'd like you to work with me, then there's a bigger problem, and maybe we should chat.
Yeah.
Darren, can I jump in for a second? Because, I want to throw in a plug for something right now. So we're going to take a commercial break. And this is sponsored by the Be Wealthy Network. And I just will throw this out there that I was never pitched being part of the Be Wealthy Network for real estate teams, right? It's something you have to seek out yourself, or be invited to by another member. I'd love to be that person, because I think that's created a huge amount of success for us in the recent time. And so I think it's also like, go seek out the things that are going to go create massive success. We joined Be Wealthy, and this is, again, like, I'm not being paid for this. I don't get anything out of this. There's not like some big, back end thing for me to gain from saying this out loud. So I feel not shy saying this out loud at all, which is like, we joined Be Wealthy just because it seemed like a cool thing. Right. And then from there, we go take the Scale to Wealth program, where people are scared to spend $500 a month on. And I take that and turn it into an insane investment business, right? That's on its track to do awesome things. Then from there, we join the mastermind, where you go meet and get in a room with people who are doing insane things. The top lender in the country, the top realtors. I mean, there was an agent last year that did 4,500 deals, right? Who's in that room, right? There's an agent who brought on 90 agents, like a realtor's business, like the team, they brought on 90 agents in a year, right? How do you get inside that room, right? And then, you know, we go and join the Be Wealthy expansion team network, which is different than any other expansion team in the model, right? It's a very different model. They don't own your business. They're not taking your business from you, right? If you go sell it's totally different than any other model. It's a way to buy things at a way lower price. It's a way to have an insane amount of value. And we go take that, and now we're running at that, and that's creating massive success in the retail side, right? And so I think that the biggest thing somebody can go do is go find the room and find the people they want to be part of. Now, if they're already here, they're like, well, this is a plug. I get it, Coby, whatever. But like, I would just say, like, what else is there that you're not thinking about? Because what other room within the room, what's the private room within the room that you can get into that changes your life? That to me is the game. Like, I think that like some of this stuff, like, I think why I'm on this call probably is because, you know, personally that I would tell anybody. I mean, my wife's on this call, right? She wouldn't lie to anybody about this. Like, this specifically really changed the trajectory course of our lives. We were just running really hard with a ton of urgency. I think my mom's a great person. I think I'm mediocre at times. And I think that we were driving towards just doing a lot of business, but with no end goal. And so we go take these models and systems and things and go build a massive world based off a plan.
Yeah. To wrap up that commercial, we have Coby and Shoshana's contact info in the chat because I know that you're passionate about it. And I know
code Coby Cobe for 20% off.
Code Coby for 20% off. But wait, there's more. We have 13 more minutes to chat. But truly, I know that you guys are passionate about it. And I love that it has changed your business in such a way that you're excited to share with people, because I think that this is the truth. You were doing a ton of production. You were growing really incredible businesses. I mean, they were going to be great, right? And now the question is, will they be great faster? Can you speed things up, and can you go farther, right? So contact info is in the chat. I know both of you are open to chatting with anybody who has more questions or wants to learn about it. So feel free to reach out. With that said, that was an investment that you guys decided to make in your business, in yourself and your education. And that's my next question. So what do you feel is the biggest investment in yourself or your education that you've made recently that has had the greatest impact?
Go ahead.
Oh, sure. Because that is what I was going to say, was actually joining the expansion network is a huge investment, and worth the time
and money, though,
and
really,
energy,
right? When she
time
says
and effort. I'm talking about time and effort.
Because it's not, you don't just get to board the rocket ship, but you gotta play along.
Yeah. The other investment, I would say, investment in talent is definitely a place we go and want to go and to continue to grow, because we love developing talent and love developing people around us, and that's a crucial component of investing in your business as well.
Coby, how about you?
Ask the question a different way for me.
I'm just going to say it again, and I think you'll understand it better. What's the top investment you've made in your education that has changed your career, had the greatest impact in your career?
Hands down, coaching with Brett Tanner. Right. I mean, we were pregnant with our son, Ronnie. I wanted to change what I was doing. I wanted to not just be a realtor. I wanted to be a realtor and an investor. And, I wanted to find that person who would help me get there. And if Brett, isn't your coach, it's finding a coach. But where I was going with this, though, is that it's not just the coaching, though. It's actually one of the things Brett told me, which is you got to go read a ton of books. And so the best investment that I've made actually wasn't the coaching. It was maybe a piece of advice that I got from the coaching. And that piece of advice was, you need to be reading 2 to 3 books to be in the game a month. And then, if you're listening to them on Audible, it should be 4 to 5, right? It should be, now you should, on top of Audible, you should be reading. So 2 to 3 books, reading yourself, 2 to 3 books, maybe if you're listening on Audible. What are you doing to grow your brain? Not just podcasts, not just things, right? But like actual books from the beginning to the end, coming up with what you're getting out of that book. right? Growing your brain heavily. And that was one of the things Brett pushed me on. So my Audible has about 150 titles that I've completed on it, right? I have a huge stack of books, and it's just, to me, like, that was one of the biggest changes, is getting my brain to a crazy place it's kind of like running, right? It's like stamina for running, but it's stamina for reading and for growth and capacity. Like, you can, if you run enough, all of a sudden you can run 26.2 miles, a marathon, magically, but it's because you got your body and your brain and your heart to that point, right? Same thing with learning, right? You go read 2 to 3 books a month, and the insane growth compounds over time to where you know so much. Like, I had no idea how certain things worked with money and numbers. Well, if you go read 10 books on taxes, you're going to learn taxes pretty well.
Yeah. I love that. Shoshana,
Have you read this? I was going to say, actually, not only that, but, I've worked really hard. A lot of us don't mind reading business books, like reading business books, like reading soft personal development type of books that have to do with business. However, I've also really forced myself to read a fiction book here and there, like read an actual novel, and have been surprised about the enjoyment that I found out of that. I really didn't anticipate that at all. And my husband does reads a nonfiction book in a way that he taught me to read, which is to read the index. The index first. And that way you go through a nonfiction book. And if you have an index and you're looking up, you're like, oh, that's in there. Then you're flipping over to that bit. Then you're like reading the book literally backwards. And I have really loved that, but it's not like reading a story from start to finish. And that's actually cleared my brain also in order to propel our business in a funny way. Like, I wouldn't have anticipated that reading a story would equal good business, but I think that they have, they dovetail really nicely.
I love that.
So, Darren, just because you're not expecting this at all, we didn't prep for this whatsoever. Let me flip it on you. Why are you here? Why are you interviewing us? Like, what's your purpose? What are you doing? What's your deal? Like, why? Why you, and why now? And what made you do what you're doing? What do you do?
You're asking what everyone really wants to ask is, where is Caitlin, and who is this crazy person?
Like, who is this lady who's not Caitlin?
Yeah. No, I have
Cinderella's like, oh God.
I have the pleasure of working with the Be Wealthy Network. I joined about 6 months ago. I'm the director of growth, which means that I get to help supercharge our business. And the way we do that is by helping other people get really wealthy, which is so fun. Like, what a fun way to grow a business.
What did you do before?
I was a team leader of a Keller Williams brokerage in Hilton Head, South Carolina. We had about 300 agents. It was incredible. I got to grow businesses there. And what really attracted me to this world was I got to help more people grow even bigger businesses and build big lives around those businesses. So that's why I'm here. And I'm here specifically with you guys because I love the business that you're building, because I think a lot of people have this idea that, well, I'm going to build a real estate team and it's going to be really big. And then their thinking kind of stops there. But that's really just the beginning. That's like the first unlock is, how do I have this incredible business that is bringing deals to me? It's my deal flow, right? That they're coming to me. And now how can I become an investor? How can I, again, whether that is quick flipping those, that's doing a total reno flip, whether that's wholetailing it, whatever that looks like for you in your world, there are major unlocks down the road after you've built a big real estate business. So it's not either or, it's both and I think that's what I love about my job is we get to help people do that. So
why would somebody reach out to you? What would be the reasoning? Like, what's the plug for someone to reach out to you? Like, who should be reaching out to you?
Anybody who wants to blow up their world in a good way through their real estate and investment business. If you want the unlock of what comes next, whether you need help building a better real estate business or a retail team, or if you feel like you have a good team and you're just not sure what comes next and looking for, is there a way to change my life from here? The answer is yes. And you should come talk to me. Great question.
Really cool.
Look at you.
Darren, I love the question. I love the question that you sent us, which was, what was something we spent $100 or under on? And what did that mean to us? But I want to know that for you too, because while Coby's finding out stuff about you, I want to know what you most recently spent under $100 on and why, and what that did for you.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so flattering. I didn't know the tables would turn here. something that cost less than $100 that I have spent money on recently that was a good investment, it would probably be a book. The book that I'm reading right now, and I know I'm like 10 years behind on this one, but I never read Fraction. It goes along with Rocket Fuel. It talks about the core functions of a business, and it's called the Entrepreneurial Operating System. EOS is the system that they use. But it's a major unlock in my thinking was, I think in real estate, we talk so much about building your retail team. We don't look at it like a business. And when you start looking at it like a business, you can actually look to different fields and different industries and their business models that can be adapted and adopted into your retail business. So I think that thinking bigger and looking at it like a business has been an unlock for me. And this book was $20. I don't know, maybe. So that would be my one under $20. And with that, we have 5 minutes left, and we have a couple of questions in the chat. So I want to make sure we touch on these.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so Brent asked, and this was back at the beginning, so thank you, Brent, for your patience. I hope you're still on, was what is the best performing mailer you do, and what group do you mail it to? So we talked about the mailers, Coby, they come right straight from the calls that Joe does. Yeah. I think probably the better part of that question is really, how do you find the list? Who are you sending them to?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to go about it. You can buy a list from anybody, right? I mean, the lists are the same. It's about how you pull and the way you pull them. Most of my lists come from Andrew McCarter, because he's incredible at pulling lists. He's been doing it for like 10 years, and the cost is like the same for him to pull it for me. So I've been using him. I don't know if that's still an option for everybody, so maybe I shouldn't have blasted that on the internet. But I also use PropStream. PropStream is a really easy way. It's, I don't know, $99 a month. And propstream.com. What's really cool is you can also see mortgage info for people. And so I'll go in there, and I'm always looking for my top performers are the ones where it's I'm nervous to say some of this stuff. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a fair housing stuff. So what I'm going to say out loud is I'm looking for tired landlords, and reach out to me directly. Is that cool? So Brent, reach out to me directly, and I will give you both my top mailing piece that I use, and I will give you all the criteria.
You know what? I'll group chat you two. You guys will connect. That'll be perfect. And again, your contact info is in the chat. I know that people say this on calls, but truly, I know that both of your hearts are your teachers and your givers.
Anytime.
Yes. So
yeah, 100%. Shoot me a text, get out to me. But I mean, tired landlords. I'm not looking to, get grandma to move out of her house. I'm looking for somebody who inherited a property, who let it go 10 years ago. The renter's not paying, something's not happening, and they just want out.
And actually, with the baby boom population, that should be an increasingly large category of people.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's huge opportunity on the horizon. So thank you both so much for joining us today. This was fun. I hope you had as much fun as I did, because I really enjoyed it. As I always do, enjoy spending time with you. And thank you to those of you who have watched, plugged in. I love seeing the whole Socher team on the call. It's great to see you guys. If you have follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to Coby, Shoshana, or myself. We're here to support you guys. As always, go be wealthy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darren.
Bye.
Nice to talk to you.